Have you ever stared at your phone, waiting for a text that never comes? Have you ever felt a hollow ache in your chest, wondering if the person you love most is slowly forgetting you exist? That was my reality for 6 long months. My name is Sophia, and this is the story of how I almost walked away from the love of my life, all because of a secret he thought was protecting me. If you've ever felt that cold sting of loneliness, you need to hear this. And if you love raw, emotional stories that pull you in, please hit that subscribe button. It truly helps our channel grow so we can bring you more stories just like this one. It all began when my boyfriend James landed a major account at his architecture firm. We celebrated with a bottle of wine on our tiny balcony, laughing under the city lights, dreaming of the future. He was so excited, and I was incredibly proud of him. He promised me this was the big break we needed. But that promise came with a cost he never warned me about. Suddenly, his late nights at the office became normal. Our weekend brunches were replaced with him staring at his laptop, stress etched on his face. The easy laughter that used to fill our apartment was replaced by a heavy, anxious silence. The business trip started soon after. First, it was just a night or two in Boston. Then it was a full week in San Francisco. I'd help him pack, tucking little I love you notes into his suitcase pockets, hoping he'd find them. At first, he'd text me photos from his hotel room, a view of the skyline with a message saying, "Wish you were here." But those messages became less frequent. The photos stopped. My goodnight texts would be left on read for hours until a single word reply would come through, "Sorry, swamped." The loneliness became a physical weight. I'd come home from my job at the floral shop to our dark, empty apartment. I'd eat a frozen dinner on the couch, watching some silly reality show, just to hear another human voice. The bed felt enormous and cold without him. I'd call my mom trying to sound cheerful, but she'd hear the sadness in my voice. "Just give it time, sweetheart," she'd say. "He's working hard for you both." But it was getting harder and harder to believe. I started to create little scenarios in my head. Maybe the work wasn't the real reason. Maybe there was someone else. A younger, more exciting colleague he met on one of those trips. Someone who didn't have soil under her. Fingernails from arranging peonies all day. My best friend Chloe would try to talk me down. "James adores you, Sophia. He's just buried right now," she'd insist over coffee. But the doubt was a seed, and it was growing roots deep inside me, twisting around my heart. The breaking point was my birthday. He had promised, sworn, that he would be there. No trips, no work, just us. I got dressed up, put on the blue dress he loves, and cooked his favorite meal. I even bought a special cake. I set the table with candles and waited. An hour passed, then 2. I texted him. No answer. I called. It went straight to voicemail. The candles melted into puddles of wax. The food grew cold. At midnight, I blew out the last candle myself, tears streaming down my face. The next day, he came home looking utterly exhausted, his suit wrinkled. He tried to apologize, saying a client meeting ran impossibly late. His phone died. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just felt numb. A cold, quiet emptiness. I told him I needed some space and went to stay with Chloe for a few days. I was done. I couldn't live with this constant disappointment, this feeling of being an afterthought in my own relationship. A week later, I went back to our apartment to finally pack my things. My heart felt like a stone in my chest. I was pulling sweaters from the drawer when I heard his key in the door. He came in and he looked different. Nervous, but there was a light in his eyes I hadn't seen in months. "Sophia, please, just hear me out. 5 minutes, he begged, his voice shaky. I nodded, my arms crossed, bracing for another excuse. He led me to the couch and took both my hands in his. They were trembling. "I have lied to you," he started, and my heart sank. Here it was, the truth about someone else. But he continued. "I wasn't always at the office. And some of those trips, they weren't all for work. I tried to pull my hands away, but he held on tighter. Please. Every late night, every weekend I was gone, I was working a second job as a freelance consultant. Every trip I was meeting clients on the side. I was completely confused. Why? Why would you do that? We have enough money, James. He took a deep breath, tears welling in his own eyes. For this, he whispered. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. It wasn't an engagement ring, it was a key. Tied to it was a little tag with an address on it. It's the old craftsman house with the big porch and the willow tree in the backyard. The one you pointed to every time we drove by. You said it was your dream house. I remember my breath catching in my throat. I couldn't speak. I just stared at the key in his hand. All of it, he said, his voice thick with emotion. The late nights, the missed birthdays, the silence. It was all for this. I was saving for a down payment. I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to give you your dream. He was crying now. I'm so sorry I made you feel forgotten. I was only thinking of our future. I was only ever thinking of you. I looked from the key to his face, to the months of exhaustion and stress finally making sense. It wasn't neglect. It was the biggest, most profound act of love I had ever seen. He had sacrificed our present, enduring my anger and distance, all to build a future he thought would make me happy. The misunderstanding shattered between us. I threw my arms around his neck, sobbing into his shoulder, whispering, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Over and over again. We held each other for a long time, healing the cracks that had formed between us. The loneliness and doubt evaporated, replaced by an overwhelming love and a deep, humbling gratitude. He wasn't pulling away. He was building a foundation for us, brick by lonely brick. We went to see the house the next day. It was even more perfect than I remembered. And it wasn't just a house. It was a testament to his love, a promise he worked tirelessly to keep. Love is a complicated journey, isn't it? Sometimes the signs are hard to read. Sometimes the greatest love stories are filled with miscommunication and sacrifice. But the truth has a way of bringing two hearts back together, stronger than before. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever experienced a misunderstanding that turned into a deeper love, please share your own story in the comments below. We love reading them. And if you want to be sure you don't miss our next story about love, heartbreak, and the journeys in between, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. It truly helps us out. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the quietest sacrifices speak the loudest. See you next time.